22% more trust than Google search. That was the most recent number I saw. That somebody, especially like the average person that's not in the business world, if I go and look on Google for New York pizza near me, or if I ask ChatGPT best New York pizza near me, I trust ChatGPT's recommendation 22% more than Google's recommendation. That obviously probably goes up or down, but that trust factor there for your potential customer, like it's about to be a hidden gold mine. The gold rush is here.
Yeah, well, it's funny because if I'm grilling on the grill, I got a pit boss, and so I'll say, okay, this is the meat. I got a pit boss. How long? Give me the temperatures, and then if it's
Yep.
not right, I'll say, okay, this is where I'm at. This is how long I've been, and it will just update me continually because I'm like, oh, that's better than finding a blog and reading the blog, and the
Yep.
blog only gives me like the steps. And if those steps don't work for some reason, I don't know what to do with ChatGPT. It's an interactive process, and so if you're saying, well, how do you exit? Oh, okay, you talk to this person. You're like, well, before I do that, what about this? And so if it's creating that constant referral. So, what are some of the ways in which we can get ChatGPT to recognize us as an authority?
So there's some indexing methods, right? It looks at your overall brand across all the networks. They're called backlinks, and it's very overwhelming for people. But what it means is whatever you want that person that searches, however you want that to show up. So how to grill a burger on a Blackstone grill. So you would want to create a bunch of content about how to grill a burger on a Blackstone grill, whatever that answer is. And what you need to do is publish that answer on as many networks as you can. Reddit is the most popular. YouTube is the second most popular. Your blog, LinkedIn articles, X articles. This is overwhelming for someone. So what I always recommend is you make that one piece of content. You could just write something. You could record an audio. I tell everyone, just turn the audio recorder on your phone, answer that question that you want to show up as the answer for, and get a virtual assistant to print it on every single network. It is very overwhelming. It is a lot of work. I don't know if it's going to get easier, but for a couple bucks an hour, you can get a virtual assistant to spread that across all these channels that you want.
Well, okay, so here's my secret strategy. And so I'm going to tell the world now. My secret strategy is I'm doing all these interviews. Now, YouTube transcribes them for me. So I've got
Yep.
this interview uninterrupted, which will be a long form interview, and then we'll probably cut up some what we call short longs. So there'll be like 3, 5, 7 minute clips, and those will be blogs. So everything will be a blog that it can be an article on X or on LinkedIn or wherever. Put it on if we want to do Reddit, whatever. Put it on the blog as well. So all of a sudden we have the YouTube, then we have it on our website, and so we have a ton of content about this topic that's going to be shared over and over again. And to your point about being hard or easy, well, if you think about it, well, this interview is going to go on full length. There it is. But you're going to say things in this interview that's going to be worth a 3, 5, 7 minute clip. Well, that's a unique blog with a different long tail keyword. And so maybe so that's how we're thinking about it. Is that the right way to think about it?
Perfect. Now, who's actually going and publishing this? 'Cause that
We
seems
are.
overwhelming to a lot of business owners.
Okay,
Like
so
you
yeah.
personally, or you have
Well,
someone on your team?
so my team is me, well, okay, so my offer, let's talk about my offer so you can slap me around here a little bit. My offer is I run a cohort, and that's led by other experts, right? So they're actually the experts that lead this process, and so it's not really working with Ryan; it's working with them for this process. Because in the exit world, simple changes can lead to hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars. So you want to hear from the best people on how to do these changes, and then understand how long it takes to make them. So, for instance, if you have a business that's owner-led, owner-dependent, and you just write a SOP and say, tomorrow we're going to market and we're not doing this anymore, buyers aren't going to buy that. They're like, oh, well, cool, you got the SOP, but show me how long this is in place. Or if customer concentration is the issue, they want to see over time that works. So some things are long, some things are short, depending on what it is. The workflow is to record these. My team, which is my two oldest kids, they go in and they're in there right now editing stuff and cutting it up, right? And then they put it in the folder, and then it gets put up to YouTube. YouTube does the transcribing, right? And then the
Yep.
next step iteration of the workflow is to get YouTube or Gemini, not YouTube, Gemini or ChatGPT or Claude to help format that as a blog. and then to build out the web page because we have that. It's not published, but it's out there. And then all of a sudden, put that on X, put it on LinkedIn, and all of a sudden, it's out there over and over again. And the thing I think a lot of owners are afraid of is, people, if they listen to this, they might go, "Oh, Brad doesn't know what he's talking about." It's okay. You want people to, because you can't nuance every little thing, right? You just never can. But some people will go, "Oh, that's what I need to hear." Right. And that's what you're trying to do, is just get people that like the way you present stuff. As long as you're being honest and giving the best you can, people like that and respect it. Some people will disagree. I see people, you mentioned Hormozy. They hate Hormozy, everything he puts out. I was like, well, guys, if you listen to Hormozy, what he actually says is, you don't have to do what I do. Do what you want to do. He does say that. People will just ignore that. And they say, well, Hormozy's preaching hustle culture. It's like, well, he's saying if you want to get to where he is, that's what you have to do. And so they kind of miss that nuance. For the
Exactly.
people who like his stuff, they go, oh, well, he didn't say I have to do this. And so that fear of people hating you, but you do kind of need some haters to grow, it seems like.
For sure. And I like how you said your kids do it. Not everyone has is lucky enough to have the kids, old enough to be able to do that. But just to wrap that last part up is you can go on a software like Upwork or Fiverr and hire a virtual assistant to do all this dirty work for you. Because when you are ready to sell, correct me if I'm wrong, having a marketing automated and doing all this marketing for your brand is going to increase your value, right?
Yeah. It will. You know, this is where nuance comes in because, what we try to advertise is how to get premium buyers to come after you.
Mm.
And it's weird because it sounds counterintuitive, but if you go after, I don't like picking on other people, so I'll just use Cody Sanchez. I'm not picking on her, but she will talk a lot about 100% owner financing. And that's fine for some buyers, cool. But what we're trying to tell owners is, if you're attracting those buyers, either A, you don't know that there's other options out there, so maybe that's all you think's available. Okay, cool. But if you build a premium company, there's companies who, instead of paying a 3x multiple, will pay a 4x multiple because it's safer for them. So they'll pay you more money because you've built the company outright. So all of these levers that you can pull make your company more valuable, which sounds counterintuitive. Wait, so they're gonna pay me more money for my company? Yes, if you do it right, they will, and it makes it makes the process a lot better in a lot of ways. And so you got to figure out where you're going to be at. But so if marketing is automated, then absolutely, because if it's dependent on the founder, the owner, to do it all, then yeah, if that person dies, gets sick, gets tired, what happens? It goes away, right? And that's what you're talking about earlier with your stuff. You're going away from the personal brand to the company brand.
Exactly. And when I was had my business for sale, they it was 80% cash offer, and 3.5x multiple. And the number one reason it was a little bit higher than a normal agency was because our advertising, we had a proven system to bring in customers. That was like the number one thing besides the personal branding. Personal branding hurt it. The advertising and the marketing automated to where they knew if they bought the business, they would still get 20 new customers a month, right? And if you don't have those ads in place to know for sure that this is how many posts are going out, this is how many ads are going out, and we're getting exactly 20 customers for this, that value is insane, which you obviously already know that.
Well, yeah, I've got a video right now I just worked on recurring revenue, and predictability is one of the things that buyers like. They want to know it's predictable. So 20 new clients a month, they know that, and then you factor in your churn, your LTV. It's like, oh, okay, now we know what we're buying, versus going to zero every month and going, we've got to get X amount of leads because X amount of leads convert. And we got to do it every month. It's like, well, that is somewhat predictable, but it doesn't feel as good as saying we've got 20 customers and we keep 15 of them, and each month, like, that's a growth, that's a compound growth. And so buyers
Yep.
love that. So if your marketing system's dialed in and you factor in recurring, all of a sudden you really have something valuable.